I've come to Mammoth Cave to explore underground and learn about the history of this place, and I'm surprised at how much history there is here. Here is an 1835 map of Mammoth Cave. This is a picture of the Mammoth Cave Hotel from about 1915. They have had tourism at this place for a long time. When I went to Mammoth Caves, the first tour I took was the Gothic Avenue tour. This tour highlights the history of tourism within the cave. On this tour, we saw the ruins of the saltpeter operation from the War of 1812. This was used to make gunpowder. After this, we entered the section of the cave called Gothic Avenue. In here, we found many drawings on the ceiling and on the walls. Guides like Stephen Bishop help tourists make their mark in the cave using candles. They also built monuments by stacking stones on top of each other. This place is full of this graffiti and stacks of stones. Some are quite impressive. We went to the spot where the Methodist Church used to meet within the cave and went to what's called the bridal chamber, where people actually got married, and here's a 1922 marriage that took place there. We even passed a stone house that was built in the cave that was used to help people with consumption, but it didn't work, so they no longer use it for that purpose. The next tour we took was the Violet City Lantern Tour. And this tour, you actually carry a lantern through the whole tour. Only the tour guide has a flashlight to highlight things within the cave. This is a prehistoric ladder used by Indians to mine the gypsum within the cave. We saw other Indian artifacts within the cave, including these reeds used for torches and this moccasin or sandal used by Indians. We saw an ancient drawing within the cave, which appears to be a man next to a lightning bolt. What it actually is, we don't know, and we don't know who drew it. We saw an underground waterfall that was lit up by one of the tour guides. Here is another ancient cave drawing. And here's some old cave poop. We saw more old cave graffiti. Here is a stone that trapped an ancient Indian who was mining gypsum in the cave. His body has been returned to this cave, but they won't show it to you. The next tour I took was the Cleveland Avenue tour. This tour is quite different than the others. This cave does not have as much graffiti in it. Also, it's got the gypsum all over the place. So here you can see what the Indians were mining in the other cave. After we had traveled through the cave system for quite a while, the guide stopped us to show us one of the most unusual gypsum formations in the cave. It looks like a rose. In fact, that's what they call it. This is an amazingly large formation of gypsum. We continued on through the cave system and eventually came to a large room that they called the Snowball Room because of these formations on the wall that look like snowballs. This was a very popular place in the early days of the cave. They even have an ad for Hoffland's tonic from 1869. This was a real product with advertising in the cave now. Here at the Visitor Center, they have a real nice little museum. They have interactive displays where you can push buttons and hear different things about the caverns. And it explains the fact that the sandstone and the limestone is what helps create all these caverns. They talk about how the limestone was formed. the different geological events. Talks about fossils. Talks about the river system. Talks about the passageways. And has a model of the gypsum that the natives, the Indians, were mining. And this is a great model that shows how all the different cave levels were produced. Then they have a display about life in the dark. All the fishes without eyes, and all of the different creatures that are found in the water and around the cave. Of course, they have bats.
In this same time period, the Flint Ridge Cave system was being explored. A massive cave passage that he named Great Crystal Cave. But cave exploration is not without peril. When Collins was trapped in a cave, his rescue effort made national headlines.
They have a display about the first peoples
The rescue effort was unsuccessful.
to explore the cave, and they have some artifacts. A bowl and the reed torches, and these are the slippers or moccasins that they wore into the cave. That's an actual real moccasin discovered in the cave. Of course, they have a projectile point. Display about the Native Americans in the area, the American Indians. And then they start talking about tourism at the cave. Starting in 1802, and they have a nice timeline of events. Is that during the War of 1812, they were mining saltpeter in the cave. And here's a diorama that talks about that. Here's a great picture of the saltpeter operations, the ruins that are in the cave right now. Talks about the old tour guides in the caves. The people that lived around here and gave tours, and then the Civilian Conservation Corps. Talks about the science and experiments.
About what they were thinking, what songs they might be singing, the dreams they might be having. You're just guessing. A pop shirt or a bundle.
They have another movie.
Not going to.
Then they have a wildlife display for the park. We saw a turtle as we went here, and we also saw 2 wild turkeys yesterday.
Adapted to the unusual conditions found in the caves. All of the living creatures of Mammoth Cave are closely monitored by scientists.
Here they talk about protecting the caves. Then we exit the museum.
What a grip.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this visit to Mammoth Cave. And until next time, see ya.